I'm sorry, my screens aren't advancing. There we go. So the Oxford County Tourism Innovation Grant is, of course, a program that is offered in partnership with Community Futures Oxford, Tourism Oxford, who is on the call and will be jumping in tonight, and Rural Oxford Economic Development. So together we are delivering a program that will provide 3 grants of $3,000 each, as well as some support and guidance to develop your idea. So I think what's really great and exciting about this program is it's not just a matter of giving you the money, but there's lots of coaching and a network of support from Tourism Oxford, absolutely, and some other industry professionals that are available to support you to get your project off the ground. So this is building on the success from the program last year. We did 3 grants last year as well of $3,000. And the program was really successful. We were really happy with the outcomes of the program. So we're happy to be able to continue to do this program again in 2023. So to give you a bit of an idea of what tourism looks like in Oxford County, I'm going to play the 1-minute promo video that Tourism Oxford uses. And hopefully as you watch that video, you can see how your project idea might fit in or might be able to provide something different for tourism in Oxford County.
Often passed by and known by few, we are more than just a sign on the highway. We are the road less traveled, a place to get grounded or go with the flow, to escape the rush or experience a new one. Be inspired by people and stories, unearth new flavors and traditions, rewind time, and be stopped in your tracks. So come, escape the grind. Take that exit. Discover what's been waiting for you and embrace our rural roots.
So as you can see, there are some really amazing things happening in the tourism industry in Oxford County, and the Tourism Innovation Grant is our invitation for the community to add to what's been going on. And as I said, Meredith's on the call, so I'll ask her to jump in a moment and speak to that too. But we hope the Tourism Grant is an opportunity for you to be really creative and think about how your idea could add to the success of tourism in Oxford. So jumping into a few of the eligibility requirements, one thing we want you to understand and keep in mind that this activity does need to be complete during the 2023 calendar year. So this has to be a project that either you're far enough along into and you could expand or add to or get some support on and can still be complete within the 2023 calendar year, or something that is perhaps small enough that you can execute it by the end of the year. You have to be eligible for the Tourism Partnership Program. And this is where I'm going to ask Meredith to jump in and add some insight into that eligibility requirement in just a moment. Your business does need to be in operation for a minimum of 2 years. And we do ask that you confirm the zoning and land use bylaws before you submit your project. So we want to make sure that whatever project you're proposing, you are able to do it. The property that you're doing it on is zoned for the use that you're intending. There won't be time to make any changes to zoning or perhaps not get the zoning that you need. So we do ask that you confirm the zoning before you submit your application. So I am going to ask, I'm going to one moment here. I'm going to make sure that Meredith is able to speak, but I'm having some trouble with controls here. I think what I'll do is I will continue on, Meredith, and at the end, I'll stop sharing my screen and ask you to add to the end. I can't see anyone or the question box. So like I said, I'll stop sharing my screen and we can have that conversation. So another thing I want to make sure we touch on is a really intentional equity statement as part of the Tourism Innovation Grant Program. So again, I'm sure Meredith may want to add to this at the end, but part of the goal of the Tourism Innovation Grant is to bring new products to market, but also bring more diverse voices into the tourism industry in Oxford County. So this is the equity statement as part of the Tourism Innovation Grant Program. And there's a variety of notes in there. I won't read it word for word, but I think what's important is we may have overlooked a barrier that makes it difficult for people to apply to the program. So if there is a barrier and there's a way we could remove it or we can support you through the application process, we are all here to support you through it. So please make those barriers known if you can, and we'll do our best to support you through the process. I want to talk a little bit about the successful applicants in the 2022 review process. So we had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we had 12 applications in 2022. Each application goes through an eligibility screening, making sure you meet the eligibility requirements. They are scored according to a matrix, which you can find on our website through the application process. So finalists are selected for an interview process where they can make a presentation to a panel of judges. And from there, 3 finalists are selected for the grant and mentorship component. So last year, the winners selected were the Golspie Dairy. So Golspie Dairy is doing on-farm milk processing. Using that milk, they're making cheese and have a dairy retail store. So they were one of the finalists last year. Greener Pastures Eco Farm has some really unique on-farm camping accommodations. So they were able to use the funding to invest in some of the trails and infrastructure they needed to make the camping accommodations more comfortable and easy to navigate for guests. And the last one is Snyder's Family Farm. So they installed an outdoor stage and some venue upgrades to be able to do some performances outside on the farm. So these were the winners that were successful last year to maybe inspire your application, give you an idea of the types of things that were done in 2020. So a few best practices I'll touch on. The first one I think it is important for people to know is you are more than welcome to ask for help. Staff are available to answer your questions and support your application if you need to, and I'll have some contact information at the end. Focus on the tourism pillars. So again, Meredith will speak a little bit at the end, but priorities for Tourism Oxford and adding new products to the tourism assets in the community include culture, sustainability and outdoors, experiences, cycling, and culinary. And those are in order of preference for where Tourism Oxford would like to see some projects. So really focus on those tourism pillars if you can and build those into your application. The final one is to be thoughtful and reasonable. So we really can't stress enough that your project must be complete and supportive and wrapped up by the end of 2023. So you really have to be proposing something that is thoughtful and important to your business and to the tourism landscape, but can also reasonably be completed in the amount of time. So the successful applicant will have a check in hand by the end of March. So of course that gives you about 9 months to complete your project. So depending on the scope, please make sure that it's reasonable that you could complete it by the end of the 2023 calendar year. So thank you to our partners. These 3 partners, Community Futures Oxford is where I'm representing and takes the lead on organizing the project. But we've also had the contributions from Tourism Oxford, Rural Oxford, marketing the program, and of course, funding the grant side and making sure we have the funds to give those out to the community. So these three organizations really work together to bring this program out to the community. And you're certainly welcome to touch base with each of them if you have questions, need some support. So at that time, I am going to stop sharing my screen so that Meredith can add a few points on the tourism partnership eligibility and focusing on the pillars that I mentioned on the last slide.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if I can add video or not.
Okay, we can hear you,
But,
so that's
okay,
good.
perfect. Trust me, I'm smiling because I'm excited. Thank you very much for that, Lindsay. I'm very excited for this partnership again this year, and the fact that Community Futures and Rural Oxford see the potential of this program, because there is a lot happening in tourism in Oxford County, and there's a lot of growth potential. So to get to the point of what Lindsay was mentioning, one of the things early on was talking about meeting the eligibility requirements for a listing on the Tourism Oxford website. So basically, any business that qualifies as a tourism business that meets our eligibility requirements can have a listing on the Tourism Oxford website. And basically, we're just saying that you have to meet these basic tourism requirements. So for instance, the product that you would be promoting for the service would have to qualify as a tourism activity, would be one of the first ones. So you'll look at the categories for our listings on what qualifies, such as accommodations, restaurants, attractions, etc. Second is actually meeting some of the requirements that allow you to meet the needs of visitors. So that includes things like having a website for your business. Now, if you are developing something that you're in business already, but you don't have the website up, that's something we would have to talk about, because obviously you're looking at 9 months to get everything done, and you're having to build a website as part of that. That's something to definitely consider. But also, if you your business has been in business for 2 years, so then also that you're maintaining your Google listing. So if you're listed on Google, that you're actually managing your listing and have owned it, so you can reply to comments and reviews. For TripAdvisor, we say if you have a listing on TripAdvisor where your business is listed, that you also own it as well. And also being active on a social media channel. For any business, being able to have customers find them, being available. So being active on at least one social media channel as well. And then just standards activities about welcoming visitors, such as signage at your entrance so people know where you are, etc. All of that can be found on the Tourism Oxford website for industry, which is oxfordcounty.ca/tourism. And Lindsay can pop that into the chat, hopefully, or into the answers possibly somewhere. So that's a little bit about the eligibility. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them. And then when Lindsay talked about pillars, what we're talking about in the order that they're in, those are places that we know we've got gaps where we could have more activities available for consumers, or enhanced activities, because we do have products there. So for example, in culture, an example would be we have an artist who's going to be coming out offering a hands-on activity for consumers. And that's something that happened through the Spark program. But we knew we wanted more hands-on activities for people involving culture and the arts. Also, when it comes to sustainability in the outdoors, outdoors is a huge trend right now for consumers. People want to do things outside. You see people loving hiking, going out and just being outside, whether it's on a farm, whether it's a walking tour in a town, or being out at an attraction. And then with that, sustainability. Sustainability is a huge trend for consumers. People are concerned about global warming. People are concerned about the impact they're having on the environment, and that carries over to tourism. And this has been in the top 5 trends probably for the last 2 years now. So anything where you're looking at how you can offer a sustainable tourism attraction would definitely be of appeal to consumers. And then experiential tourism. So that is when people do something that's more immersive and hands-on. So for instance, like we said, getting together with an artist and them walking you through, you know, breathing and connecting with yourself, and then finding something that you're wanting to paint, and then learning the techniques and then doing it, where you leave yourself kind of refreshed. You've had a transformative experience where you learned something new and you were hands-on doing it, engaging all your senses. So if you go to tourismoxford.ca/experiences, you can see several experiences that are run in Oxford County. And once again, we're happy to chat with you about that program, which offers supports as well for people that want to craft an experience, including training and coaching. And then, as was mentioned, also cycling. So cycling is a growing segment, particularly right now. We're getting a growth in gravel riding in the area, but also paved riding, trail riding, and just recreational riding. People want to park their car. So, you know, like a bike rental, where people could rent a bike and go out on a trail for a day, or they can rent one and then there's like a tour related to it that they can go around and do, etc. Or services to support cyclists coming to your location if you're an accommodation or a restaurant. And then also culinary. So we are known for culinary here in Oxford County. It is an always growing sector for us, such as the Cheese Trail, culinary tours, Oxford Fresh, and the experiences related to them. So those are some of the activities and the pillars. And we're available to talk about ideas. We're really looking at you enhancing a tourism product that's available to increase traffic or creating a new one to increase traffic. So we're happy to talk about ideas, brainstorm with you. We're here available to help you through this process. Thank you very much, Lindsay.
That wraps up kind of the formal part of the presentation. I will add that you'll get a follow-up email, and you should have received a link to the page on this Community Futures Oxford website where all of this information is summarized, and of course a link to the application, which is an online application that is due on March 1st. So this information is on our website, and as Meredith said, you know, there's folks here to help you. It's not the expectation that, you know, we can answer any of your questions or even get support kind of crafting your idea. So we absolutely encourage you to make that connection, particularly with Tourism Oxford, to hone your idea. At that point, does anyone have any particular questions? I'm just checking that there's no questions in the Q&A box, but I will wait a few moments to see if anyone had any specific questions they wanted to put into the chat box or anonymously using the Q&A button. I'll give it a moment in case someone's typing away.
And this is a great opportunity, everyone. You've got Lindsay on the line and myself.
It seems like we have no questions. Um, oh, I'm wrong. There we go. Um, so Wendy's question, I'll just read it out loud, Meredith, here. Do we need to have confirmed quotes or estimates for the 2023 project as part of the application? So no, we do not ask for quotes when to be submitted alongside your budget, but we do ask you to complete a project budget um, that obviously you've taken some time to make sure is accurate and reasonable as part of your project application. And I do believe some of the scoring includes that your budget is reasonable and makes sense for what you're trying to do. So we don't ask you to submit quotes, but you know, we hope you have informed your budget decisions based on not necessarily quotes, but you know, informed conversations along on the way. Meredith, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that's perfect.
Good question. I'll share the link to the section of the Community Futures Oxford website as well, because as I mentioned, if you scroll to the bottom, it will show you the exact scoring matrix that our panel will use to score each of the applications out of a mark of 100. And that's where we start refining the application. So you'll have a much better idea of exactly what folks are looking for. There's more questions. Great. Do we need to submit proof of purchase at the end of the project? If so, when are those receipts due? So as part of the regular granting process at Community Futures Oxford, we ask for receipts for purchases over $500, and those are due at the end of your project. So when you wrap up your project, probably close to December for most people, I would imagine. And Meredith can chime in here too. There's reporting to Tourism Oxford that they can share in their final report, and obviously with partners like Community Futures Oxford. And then if there were purchases over 500, Community Futures Oxford will ask for copies of those as well. But you are given the full amount of $3,000 in March. There's not a holdback, recognizing that some of these projects might be big and you'll need the full amount to move forward. Meredith, was there anything you wanted to add to the reporting?
Just the fact that it's important that we can demonstrate the success that you've had through this program. Because by showing the success, we're able to continue on with the program, showing the positive impact it's had on the community. So we're asking you for quotes on how it's impacted you and asking for results in the program and how it's impacted your ability to welcome tourists at your location.
I think just to give folks a sense of the types of things we would like to share with the community, with each other and with partners is the funding that was leveraged through your project was something that we considered. So the $3,000 that the project put into your, that the grant program contributed to your project, but if you yourself or your business also contributed an amount to make that project happen, that is something we take into consideration. The other consideration is the number of visitors you anticipate coming to your location as a direct result of the product that you're proposing. And I think those were the two main things, in addition to what Meredith already spoke to. I don't have any other questions in the question box, but I will still wait a few moments while I grab the link to that section on our website. So I'm not sure if I'll give a moment in case you wanted to copy any of those links, but I will put them in the follow-up email. And the session from today has been recorded, and I will post that in the same section on our website as well in case you want to go back to any of this information. I will give it a couple of more minutes in case anyone has a question that they're working on it. You can also raise your hand and you can just ask them verbally. You don't have to turn your camera on if you're already in your pajamas, but I can unmute you. So it seems like that is it for this evening. Again, we really welcome you to reach out. So even after this session, you are more than welcome to connect, and we hope that you do that. So thank you for taking the time to join the call, and we look forward to your applications, which are due on March 1st, and there's no leeway on that deadline, so don't miss it. Meredith, do you add anything else you wanted to add before I end the call?
Thank you everyone for being on the call. I'm really excited that you sense and feel the excitement we do about the industry. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Meredith, and take care, everyone. We will look forward to your applications. Bye.